I said I was the... Jeez.
Taken over by a Tokyo-based conglomerate.
But oh my gosh, my hand hurts, my wrist hurts. I have a hot mess right now, genuinely. Hi, my name is Lindsay and I am the artist and designer behind Asthenia Designs. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am starting the tremendous task of finishing a sketchbook in 1 week. It is Monday, March 9th. I was inspired by another YouTube creator to take on this challenge. I loved her vlog doing the process. I literally got the same sketchbook that she did. I've used it before and I loved it, and I will tag her video below if you want to go and watch hers. This is not my idea. I've always thought about trying to finish a sketchbook in a short period of time, but I loved that she filmed the process and vlogged it, so I thought that would be a really cool thing to do. I decorated sketchbook using stickers, which you'll see me doing in the vlog. But you won't see is I went through and I numbered all of the pages. That way I can actually know where I am along in the process, because I have to do so many pages a day, and also I just kind of like having them numbered. I did that towards the end of my last sketchbook so I could keep track of how I was getting closer to the finish line. Definitely not gonna do it in every single one because it took forever. But I'm glad I did, because it said that there were 80 sheets in this sketchbook, which in my mind would mean 160 pages because front and back. There's actually 164. So that is a lot of pages to sketch in 1 week. I am not limiting this to any specific subject. I am not limiting this to one specific media. I am literally just having the goal to finish the sketchbook. I feel like any other stipulations would make this challenge impossible. My page goal is, it ends up being if you divide 164 by a week, it ends up being 23 and change. So my goal is to do 24 pages a day. I am worried that if I fall behind even a handful of pages each day, that it's gonna be insurmountable come Sunday. I'm worried that even if I only did 20 today, if you say I did 20 pages for the next 3 days, that means I'm 12 pages behind plus whatever amount I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm a little worried about that. I really am gonna need to work hard to stay on track. I have done something like this before, but not for my own fun or challenge. If for those of you who know, you know, but in art school, a lot of times you'll need to keep a sketchbook for a specific class. And for my painting class in particular, I remember I need to have 100 sketches done by the end of the semester, which for a semester, totally doable. Did I do them? No. No, I did not. So the day before my final, not only am I frantically trying to finish my, I think it was a 6 foot tall painting, I was also frantically trying to make enough sketches to look like I had done them the entire semester. And I'm sure, I was a teacher, I'm sure that they knew that a lot of them were done at the last minute, but I loved that professor and I did not want to let him down. And yeah, it was it was rough. I remember it was an all-nighter. I performed so many all-nighters for my various projects in college. It's not even funny, but that is not the goal of this particular challenge. The goal is to not complete it all in basically 1 day. The goal is to complete it over the next 7 days. So hopefully I finish this on Sunday, which is the 15th of March. So today's the 9th. The goal is to finish it on the 14th. I think at this point I'm just procrastinating actually starting. I hope that is not a sign of things to come, because I do not want this project to be just an effort and futility of my own procrastination. But enough yapping. I should get to sketching and stop procrastinating. So day 1, as you could tell, I was heavily procrastinating. I was definitely intimidated by the prospect of this whole project, and I think I was already kind of psyching myself out that I wasn't going to complete it. I was having the ADHD brain gremlins. Oh god, that sounds so like lay doggo pupper.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
Cringy whatever. But yeah, I was really procrastinating starting this project. Even though it was a project of my own making that I was looking forward to, I still was just so majorly procrastinating. So I decided to start with something kind of easy and fun, which was for me a pigeon. I like drawing birds. I like drawing cats. So to set myself up for success, what I actually did was I went and put together a folder of reference images so that way I wouldn't waste time looking for pictures to draw. So when I wanted to draw something in particular, I already had everything put together and I wouldn't fall down like the rabbit hole of Pinterest or Google or anything. So I went through a bunch of like royalty-free websites and put together images that I found inspiring or were were things that I had already previously noted to myself that I wanted to draw or paint. So this was one of the pictures that I had saved of a really chubby pigeon. This is also though a bit where I noticed that there was a strong chance that I was taking way too long on one piece. So midday check-in, it is 6:55 and I am only on page 9. No, 7. I'm only on page 7. So I think I need to pick up the pace because I have already spent, let's see, I've already spent 2.5 hours sketching. So I think I need to pick up the pace a bit if I have any hope in finishing this challenge. So let me see what I can do with the rest of the day. So day 1 is complete. I am so tired. It is 9:30 and I started at like what, 11:30 or something. No, I took plenty of breaks and I did other stuff today, but I spent a total time of 4 hours and 50 minutes today sketching to complete the 24 pages. Oh my goodness. I am going to need to set myself a time limit per page tomorrow going forward, unless I get like super into one particular page, because oh my gosh, I really need to pick up the pace. I realized around like 8 o'clock after dinner, I was at like 8 pages. I had spent way too much time. I had been like painting, but I did finish all 24 pages that I needed to finish today. I did not want to start on a deficit, but oh my gosh, my hand hurts, my wrist hurts. I definitely, when I've been sketching with like colored pencil, specifically in like these like clutch pencils, I don't know if it's the lead or if it's me, but like feel like I have to death grip this lead. I'm not able to show like a few of the pages I did because I ended up using the opportunity to sketch some logo designs for a client. I'm not going to share because I'd rather share like the finished design once it's approved. My office is now slightly a mess. I did finish up a supply though. I finished off a black Posca marker in the Arts Empties video I filmed like last week. I said I was surprised by how few black and white Poscas I went through last year. Well, this one barely had any juice left in it. So when I was using it today, it just totally died. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see if I can like go through some supplies and see how much the sketchbook is done and how much left we have to go. For day 1, we made a decent chunk of progress and I am proud of that. So now I am going to get out of my office, get into some PJs, play some Stardew Valley, and return here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, hopefully tomorrow morning. See you then. Day 2, I made it my personal mission to absolutely haul ass. And I mean, it's probably not the best phrasing I could have used, but I mean, I was not going to mess around like I did on day 1, where I basically was taking like an hour per page for some of them and then realized there was no way I was going to finish this challenge if I kept up at that pace. So I pulled out my trusty dusty rainbow pencils. I was doodling. I'm doodling sparkles. I'm doodling cats. I'm doodling ribbons. I'm using paint markers. Day 2 was like the essence of what I walked in thinking this sketchbook was going to be, which is basically not necessarily always looking at a reference, but straight up just doodling stuff from my mind and having fun doing it. just getting lost in the process of drawing almost as if I was a kid again. And I think this day was like the most fun I had, because it was less about like the perfectionism and less about trying to think of product ideas or art to share on Instagram or anything like that. It was mostly just about kind of slapping shit on a page and seeing like how much I could do and how fast I could get these pages done. And it was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun experimenting with color palettes, especially in the cat doodle. And I love using the rainbow pencils, especially like the straight up rainbow one. I just love how it can turn a simple doodle just a little more whimsical and fun. I know whimsical is the buzzword, but it's the buzzword for a reason. I think sometimes I can forget that the drawings in a sketchbook do not have to be perfect. They're not supposed to be perfect. It's a place to work out ideas and just have fun. This was one of those days where I feel like I actually kind of like locked in and hit a flow state. No, I'm kidding. But I was just a lot looser and not so worried about being perfect and making art. I was just doodling for the fun of the game. And I think sometimes we all just need that. So it is day 3 of my Finish a Sketchbook in 7 Days challenge. It is 5:30 and I've not finished or started sketching for today's pages. And I forgot to film me talking to the camera yesterday. But yesterday actually went a lot smoother and went a lot faster than day 1 on Monday. I got like a lot of actually like quick sketches done that I was pretty happy with. Of course, then like later on in the day, as I was thinking about what I had drawn and what I had gotten done, I started feeling kind of weird and insecure about it, and went on social media and was looking at other people's like sketchbooks, and I was like, ugh, no one's gonna want to watch this. My sketches are so crappy. But I'm gonna keep moving forward anyway and try to push those thoughts out of my mind. But yeah, it is already 5:30. I've just been having an off day. Even though I really don't feel like it today, I'm going to try to push through. I hope tomorrow's a better day. So you may notice that we have skipped a day in our challenge. Today is Thursday, March 14th. No, crap. It's Friday, March 14th. And I did nothing yesterday. I had a double whammy flare-up. My endo and my migraines decided now was the perfect time to rear their ugly head. I still am not 100%, as you can tell just by looking at me, because I look rumpled. I am rumpled. My house is rumpled. Everything's rumpled. It's 5:30, so we're starting about the same time that we started on Wednesday, except now I have either the choice to do double the pages and do 48 pages today, or I could split them amongst the next 3 days and pray to God that I don't fuck up. Okay, let's see what I can do. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a little sketching in the living room, do some in here. My house is a mess. My office is a mess. Everything's a mess. So let's do anything to work towards our goals. Let's go. I don't know why I did this. Like, I look horrible. Peace out, Girl Scout. So you know how I had said that I had 2 options? I could either do all the pages and catch up on that one day, or I could spread them amongst the next like 3 days. Well, I locked in and I did 48 pages that Friday. It was crazy. I got done like 20 pages just sitting outside of my living room and sketching the stuff in my living room. And once I started to get into the swing of that, I was able to go back into my office and just doodle my little heart out. It definitely set me up for better success for the next few days, because I don't know if I would have been able to catch up. It is day 6 of my finishing a sketchbook in 1 week challenge and I'm definitely like in a rut. I thought I was definitely going to do like more going to coffee shops and sketching, going to the library and sketching, going outside and sketching, but I've just been such a fucking hermit this week. Yeah, like I've barely left the house since like last Saturday, which is super embarrassing. I did catch up yesterday. It is 5:52 p.m. on Saturday evening, March 14th. I'm kind of like feeling kind of burnt out of sketching a little bit. But not like fully burnt out. I guess I'm kind of like in that like mode of thinking of all the things I could have done differently with this time and with this project. Like, oh, I should have practiced more anatomy. I should have done more like full like cool sketches like you'd see on Pinterest. And I'm definitely stuck in that weird comparison mode. And I'm also feeling bad because I haven't filmed a whole lot of process. I filmed on Wednesday like a time lapse, I think, of most of what I did. In the past few days, I've forgotten to even like film like flip through. So I'm probably just gonna do one like at the end at this point. I've drawn like a page at the end to signify kind of where I'm at. I know my energy is like super low and I just seem really like blah. So I am sorry about that. Kind of want to procrastinate, but also just kind of want to get this done. I was trying to think of somewhere I could go tonight and like sketch besides my parents' house or something, but I just can't think of anything, honestly. It got cold out again. I should have done outdoorsy things earlier this week and I just didn't. I don't know why I'm being such a hermit. I haven't posted in like a week either. I'm just kind of a mess, if you couldn't tell by my energy. So let's go do some sketching and see what we can do. Editing Me is coming at you live from May 6th. So I'm trying to get into the headspace that I was at when I was filming this. And why did I think this was a good angle? Like, you can't see anything I'm doing. Did I think that you could see any of the art I was making? Was I just like lazy and in it for the aesthetic? What aesthetic? This is a very not cool angle. I mean, is this a great angle either? No, but I was tired. I had already watched like a long like documentary series about The Biggest Loser while I was doodling. I was trying to draw soot sprites and I felt like my paint markers were eating the paper. But there was a light at the end of the tunnel. This is one of the last things I drew. I decided to draw a self-portrait to kind of capture the person I am right now as I'm finishing this sketchbook. I didn't have a mirror, so I used my iPad's front camera as the mirror. And I just felt like this was a perfect way to kind of, you know, bookmark, what is the word? Like bookend the sketchbook of who I am now as the person finishing it. And I had one page left. So the last thing to do was to make my little congratulations. Look at me, like I'm shaking the trophy. Totally finished the sketchbook. I put a little thing at the end being like giving myself a medal of finished the sketchbook in 1 week. I think at this point I was just surprised that I did it. I don't think I expected to do it, but I did. And hell yeah, did it feel good? I'm not gonna lie. I was super proud in this moment. So it has been a few days since I finished a sketchbook in 1 week challenge. So I figured I'd come back and kind of talk about my thoughts and just talk a bit about the process and how I felt throughout it. I can show you my finished sketchbook. Look at that. And without the elastic, you can very much see how much I did, which is really cool. And there's such a wide variety of work in here that I'm very proud of. I think especially as an artist on social media, there is a lot of pressure to kind of find your own niche and to really niche down into one specific style. No matter what video you're watching, no matter what you're reading, trying to get advice on being successful on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the advice is literally just niche down, find your style. You need to be able to tell your style just from like your first post, blah, blah, blah. And while I think that can be good advice, especially in terms of having a unified portfolio. I do think that it is very stifling and can be extremely toxic to constantly tell artists that, especially with like a sketchbook. That should be a place where you're really just experimenting and having fun and making art that you want to make. There's no pressure to show it. And I felt myself getting caught into that because I would film like sketchbook tours. Now I'm just kind of like, I feel like I'm more comfortable showing my bad art, but I do still have that anxiety about niching down and all those words in my head. I just try to really focus on telling myself I don't have to share the artwork I make in here, and the sketchbook is supposed to be a place where you play. It's supposed to be a place where you figure things out. It's supposed to be a place where you practice. Sketchbook isn't supposed to be an artist book, and that's something I do think social media has had such a negative impact on sketchbook culture. And I know that sounds so I don't know, I don't want to say stereotypical, but like it sounds very anti-social media, and that's not how I feel either. But I do think the fact that all we see on social media pushed out are these ultra curated sketchbooks and highly curated spreads, and each page in someone's sketchbook is like could hang in a museum, and I don't think that that's the purpose. And I do think it sends the wrong message to younger artists if all you show from your sketchbook is the best work. So I am going to make sure to show almost all the pages in the sketchbook. The only pages I'm not going to show are some logo designs that I'm doing for somebody else because they're still a draft. They aren't mine to share yet, but everything else I'm going to show. I'm just going to flip through each page. Maybe I'm overlapping it now as I'm talking. Who knows? I don't know what editing Lindsay's going to do. She's a totally different person than filming Lindsay. She's more of a gremlin and much more stressed out. I didn't think I would be able to do this. 164 pages in a sketchbook felt insane. Last week, I actually ended up only taking 6 days to finish this because on Thursday I had to take like a sick day. The total amount of time that I spent working on this sketchbook was 24 hours and 48 minutes, so just shy of 25 hours, which is crazy. My longest day was on Monday because I filmed I think like an intro to this, and I did other stuff, and it was a 10-hour day. And then Wednesday was a 9-hour day. The rest of the days were shorter, and Sunday was a 7.5-hour day. Not including just sketching time, like including everything. I track all of my times for my art practice in Toggle Track. I like to nerd out about the data. This did help me kind of get back into enjoying drawing. It was really fun to kind of take the pressure off because I couldn't spend too much time on one page because I had to get to the next one, where I think so much of the time, going back to like what I was saying before, you even have the pressure to be perfect in a sketchbook, and that means that you're spending so much time on one page, and that's not the intent of a sketchbook. That's more the intent of a finished piece. So it forced me to work quickly. There are definitely times I did get caught up and would spend way too much time on a page, especially the first day, and that's why Monday was so long, because I really had to check in with myself and be like, okay, if I keep going at the rate I'm going, I'm never going to finish. In art school, that's something that you're very much taught to do in like figure drawing and drawing environments, is to do like loose gestural sketches, contour sketches, and like just like go through like the newsprint. And I know I could have done that in this challenge, like really rushed through it, but that wasn't what I wanted to do. Maybe another time. I didn't stick to one particular media or one particular theme. I did drawing, I did painting, I did collage. I also did like paint markers and ink and colored pencil and graphite, and I did gouache, I did acrylic paint, I did alcohol marker. I tried to do so many different media. Each day it wouldn't feel boring. That was one thing I did not want to feel towards the end of the process, was bored. I definitely do think I achieved that goal. My other goal was to have like sketches ready for other ideas that I can turn into bigger works. And I haven't really gone through this and looked at it with that frame, but I think there's like 1 or 2 pages I could definitely think of turning into something else, whether that's a small block print or a sticker or just an idea that I want to go forward with. I definitely think my favorite materials to use in this were my Posca markers, which if you followed me for any degree of time, you know that that is not shocking. Rainbow pencils. Those were so fun to use. I really enjoy, especially I have a clutch pencil that has rainbow lead in it, and I really liked using this on a lot of the pages of my sketchbook. It's a fun way to doodle while also still having color. In terms of imagery, I thought I'd do more practice with anatomy and like people, but I think I drew like 2 people and one of them's myself, and then I drew like 2 eyes. Okay, 4 eyes. No, 5. I don't know. I drew a few eyes and like I drew like a nose, but I didn't do any like actual anatomy practice. I drew a lot of cats. I definitely think I stuck in my comfort zone for a lot of this one. Subject wise, I think in doing a project like this, I had it in my head that there was a very strong chance of failure, and so I wanted to not put as many any other real roadblocks. That's why I didn't say it can only be one subject. That's why I didn't say it can only be one medium. And I had fun. I think it was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of stuff in here that I could see new ideas popping up that could make their way into my work going forward. I also, one of the days, I went on Pinterest and I looked through for art that I liked, and then I would copy it and I would write down what inspired me about it and who it was that did the original work I was inspired by. And I think that's definitely a lost art of knowing that it's okay to take inspiration from others and not that you have to reinvent the wheel every time, acknowledging that we're inspired by everyone and inspired by everything we see on a day-to-day. Just making sure to acknowledge your references and talk about the people who inspire you and giving them their kudos. There were days that like I didn't film a check-in like every day. I meant to, but I was definitely getting in my head plenty of the days. It would totally lose steam and just didn't want to do it. And a lot of that's because I was comparing a lot of the art I was making to the people I was seeing on social media. I feel like when I wasn't sketching a lot of the time, I would gravitate towards like going on Pinterest and going on YouTube and going on social media in general. And I would look at other people's art and other people's sketches, and I was like, they're so much better than mine. Like, why am I doing this? I'm just rushing. Like, what's the point? You didn't do anything like new and exciting. I'm not gonna say that that's all gone, but I do think that forcing myself to work through that and forcing myself to still come back and sit down at the sketchbook every day helps to not reinforce that those voices are right and that I should listen to them. And I feel like if I had stopped doing this project and I had completely listened to my own insecurity, it would have reinforced the idea that there was no point in sketching. There's no point in making my art and having fun with it if I don't feel it's as good as it should be. And I do think that there's always a value to making art, even making bad art, especially in the age of AI. I think there's always a value in making bad art. A child's like worst doodle is still better than AI slop any day of the week, in my humble opinion. Would I do this challenge again? Yes, I definitely think I would. Now that I know I could do it, I might do like a smaller sketchbook with maybe less pages, but more limitations. Like it has to be it all has to be done in like pen and ink or something. Maybe that'd be better over like the course of a month versus a week, because it's intense. Like it took over my life. I'm proud of myself for doing it, and I'm really excited to use what I learned in this sketchbook and kind of allowed me to loosen up, that I can now bring with me into my next sketchbook and into my work from now on. And I definitely feel like for every like 20 bad drawings you make one good one. So by a process of math, I have a few good sketches in the sketchbook. So thank you for watching. I know this is probably a longer video, so I appreciate those of you who've stuck through to the end. Let me know like what other videos you want to see from me, and also let me know if you would do a challenge like this, because I want to know and I want to see other people try it. All right, I will see you in the next one. Bye.